So this is an example of a levelled reader. They've been used for quite some time and are under quite a lot of scrutiny at the moment because the science of reading dictates that decoding is the primary strategy for children with regards to learning to read. Despite this, you'll still see reference to levelled readers and book bans, even from organisations that are promoting systematically taught phonics. So in these levelled readers, the focus is on vocab and high frequency words, and phonics plays sort of a back seat. So the children wouldn't be able to decode these texts, and as a result they tend to do something called 3Qing. So what schools do when they have to use these levelled readers is they introduce a lot of high frequency words. They often call them sight words, and the children memorise them as whole words. Because even if the schools are teaching phonics, the schools aren't necessarily teaching the graphemes that can be found in these high frequency words. Like is, the S represents the Z sound, or the word which is a schwa, or come, with the sound represented by the letter O. The which is schwa, or the EZ, depending on the word that comes after it. So these books are quite narrow with regards to what the children are going to be learning or able to learn in the very beginning stages of learning to read. A quick Google search will show the criteria for levelling books, how book bans are determined, and there are things like the length of the text, how many words there are, rather than how the words are constructed with regards to the phoneme to grapheme mapping, the layout, the vocab, etc. This is very much based on something called whole language, and the 3Qing system very much aligns with this type of approach to teaching reading. And what we found over about 7 years is that actually we can use these books, but the children need to get to the end of our SSP yellow code level. So they have the foundation of phonics first. Within that foundation, if the books had a word count of about 57 words, around 80% of those words would be decodable according to the children's phonics code level. So only about 10 to 20% would be high frequency words using those graphemes that are not covered within the phonics teaching. Now we cover them because we code map all high frequency words. We've been doing that for about 10 years. So we code map all the high frequency words, and this is my unique design, code mapping. So have a look at words in these books and think about the speech sounds and how they're represented on paper. You can do this by looking at the phonetic symbols. So underneath these words, which I've code mapped, are the phonetic symbols. They represent the speech sound. So letters don't make sounds, letters represent speech sounds, and it depends on the word. So he, is, which is a schwa, I, butterfly. So that ER there represents the schwa sound again. A lot of systematic phonics programs don't actually cover the schwa at all, so that can pose a bit of a problem. But think about underneath these words, the speech sounds, and then think how they're represented on paper using what we call graphemes. So that's one or more letters. So this code mapping design helps the children go from looking at whole words to looking at their parts. They're still going to need some help with regards to pronunciation, and that's actually where monster mapping comes in.
So code mapping is my unique design. I visually show children how words are segmented. So code has got a split bar diagram, but it visually shows children how words are segmented according to the graphemes. There's no attention to anything that is often referred to as vowel sounds or consonant sounds or what have you. So it means that it's easy for the children to understand how the words are segmented. So it's in line with systematic phonics teaching. So here, is, st, at and stan. And so, for example, you know, here's the letter S. That represents the speech sound S. Here, the letter S represents the speech sound Z. So with orthographic mapping, we're getting children to think about the phoneme to grapheme mapping. So we've got phonics, decodable readers. We call them code level readers because the children know the phonics code they're on. They choose which readers they want. And then we've also got leveled readers where the words are not chosen because of their decodability, if you like. They're chosen because of the pictures. Children can sort of predict what's going to happen next, predict what the words are going to be, even if they've never seen them before. The idea being that if they work out this first one, or if somebody reads it to them, Mum is a doctor. There's the picture, Mum being a doctor. The idea is that when they turn the page and look at what Dad is, that they can use that as the clue. So it's, you know, there's a lot of prediction and repetitiveness and what have you. So whereas this would be in here, we wouldn't use this code. I mean, it's a code level reader. That's the reason we're showing the split bar diagram there. But this is a green code level reader, which means these graphemes and showing these high frequency words. So meow, they're going to meet fairly early on. But the E is a representation for the E sound, not so much. And the OW, they're not going to see that until the blue code level as a representation for ow or O. Here we come, again, high frequency words. So in that, there's very little in that we would use for systematic phonics instruction. So what happens is the teacher says what the words are. Meow, meow, here we come. And what happens is on the next page, the child looks at the animal, thinks about the sound, and knows these words are likely to be woof, woof, here we come. So I've done experiments and actually hidden the words just to show that the children can guess what those words are. But the problem is when they guess and they look at the picture, they kind of scan over these words and they see these as whole words instead of the parts. And that's where code mapping comes in. They need to see that segmentation.
So what we're able to do now, think about the science of reading, SoR. We're actually SoRifying these books for publishers. Publishers can ask us to code map the text so that the children aren't having to forego that phonics instruction or the phonics learning because of the choice of these texts. Now we can actually use this. If the children can work out the words, we can work backwards.
Right, close your eyes. What's the writing there?
The little track is on the table.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Woohoo! Hold on, next one. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Now read the page.
The little ball is on the table.
The little ball is on the table. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't look. Read the page.
The little aeroplane.
Oh, but no, hold on. It's a purr. So what do you think is the little purr is on the table? What do you think it is? The little The little paw. It was an aeroplane, but they're calling it a plane. Let's have a look. Yes, it was little plane. Let's have a look at the next one. You ready? You ready? Ready? Don't look. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, read that one for me.
The little bus is on the table.
Oh, it is your magic.
And actually what we find the children do is they use those clues that they're being taught within guided reading sessions to have a look at the picture. What do you think it could be? What's the first sound? Work out the words, but because the words are code mapped, they can then think, okay, if they are the words, what are those graphemes representing? Because every letter has a job. So it really helps the publishers to make sure that the children using their resources are using them in a way that aligns with the theory of reading development, including, for example, the simple view of reading, which is decoding and comprehension, even though what the children are doing is comprehending to lead to decoding, which is the other way around. But if you look at the science of reading, that's actually what a lot of the science says children will do. What we need to do is make sure they're not just stopping when they know the words, they're continuing to make sure they understand the mapping, the phoneme to grapheme mapping, because that is what is going to lead to orthographic mapping. For publishers of leveled readers, for book bans, there's no getting away from the fact that orthographic mapping is the most current theory of how children form sight word representations. And what that means by the term sight word, it's not learning a word as a whole word by sight. It means that children look at the word and don't have to give it any conscious thought. They just know what the word is. They don't have to figure out the phoneme to grapheme mapping because they understand it. But these words are also important alongside phonics decodable texts. This is because these phonics readers, these decodable readers, simply don't include enough phoneme to grapheme correspondences to meet the needs of children. Neither leveled readers at the beginning stages of reading or decodable readers with whole word sight words is sufficient to meet the needs of the highest number of children. And both approaches can fail to recognize that the individual literacy learning needs of children vary greatly depending on their specific levels of development across the set of reading component skills we know from the science of reading are essential. And this means we can not only miss a lot of children can become instructional casualties. A lot of children aren't learning to read and reading for pleasure and meaning, and that's really troubling. Far too many are struggling to learn to read and spell. So publishers can now ask for their resources to be code mapped, whether they're phonics books or whether they're leveled books. So please do contact us, EdCode, because the code is the key to unlocking potential.